Welcome to Philosophy in Pajamas podcast. We are going straight into a fascinating and really timely topic.
It's one of those stories that connects so many dots. Military history, covert ops.
And just sheer geopolitical high drama, the kind of stuff that usually stays locked away.
Exactly. And today, we're sorting through the layers of information Rushik has provided on these mysterious events at the Noor Airbase in Pakistan.
Right.
And the core question for you listening is this. What were U.S. cargo planes and, more importantly, U.S. generals really doing there recently?
And what does that flurry of activity reveal about a secret that might go back decades?
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're getting reports that not too long ago, 3, maybe 4, huge U.S. C-17 Globemaster cargo planes landed at Norcon.
And these aren't just any planes. These are the workhorses of the U.S. military. They move tanks, troops, entire combat units.
So this wasn't just a quick refuel.
Oh, absolutely not. They were carrying U.S. three-star generals. I mean, in the U.S. military, that is an incredibly high rank.
And they were met by their Pakistani counterparts, right? Also 3-star generals.
That's right. One step below the Army chief. So you're talking about a meeting at the absolute highest levels of the military.
Now, the official story, the one they put out for public consumption, was that this was all for humanitarian flood relief.
Which, sounds noble.
It does, but it doesn't add up. If it's about flood aid, why send only generals? Where are the diplomats, the aid coordinators, the ambassadors?
You'd expect a civilian delegation. But no, it was purely military, focused on this one very specific, very strategic airbase. And that's where it gets really interesting.
It really does.
To get why a few planes landing here sends shockwaves, you have to go back. The airbase wasn't even called Norcon until after 2012. Before that, it was Chakla.
And its location is everything. That's the key to this whole puzzle.
It is. It's in Rawalpindi, making it Pakistan's northernmost major operational airbase. And as Rishi points out, look at what it's close to.
It's right on the doorstep of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, or POCO, a huge geopolitical fault line.
And beyond that, a stone's throw from China, easy reach to Central Asia, the old Soviet states. And it's a key logistics hub for Afghanistan.
So its strategic value isn't new.
Not at all. This base is ancient. It was running long before partition in 1947. During World War I and II, the British military used it heavily.
For what? Training and things?
It was everything. Pilot training, parachute landing, staging exercises. It was a critical hub for sending troops from the subcontinent to fight in Europe. Its strategic value is baked in.
So this is not just some random airstrip. It's a prime piece of military real estate. And it recently came back into the global spotlight because of military action.
That's right. India targeted some of its facilities during Operation Sindoor back in May.
And that strike is what really blew the lid off this thing.
It forced the base back into the headlines. There were Pakistani reports, and you could even see it on public satellite images, which Rushik highlights, showing specific structures that were damaged.
And right after that attack, the bombshell claim surfaces.
In June, a Pakistani journalist comes out and says, look, Norcon isn't just a Pakistani base. It's a secret American airbase.
Which is an incredible claim because officially,
the U.S. has 0 military bases in Pakistan. That's the public line.
But there's a history here, isn't there? This wouldn't be the first time.
Not even close.
Yeah.
I mean, to give you some context, the U.S. has over 750 military bases in about 80 countries. They are masters of this stuff.
And they had the Shamsi Air Base.
Exactly. In Balochistan. They used it for years for drone ops in Afghanistan against al-Qaeda and the Taliban. They only officially handed it back in 2011 after a big diplomatic fight.
So the precedent for a covert base is already there. The claim isn't coming out of nowhere.
Not at all. The idea that they'd just set up a new, more hidden one is highly plausible.
And the details from that journalist's claim, they're really vivid. Allegedly, Pakistani officials are treated like outsiders on their own base.
Right. They're not allowed to ask what's in the cargo. It suggests total U.S. operational control over certain parts of the facility.
Then there's that one shocking anecdote.
The one where a U.S. official allegedly pulled a pistol on a Pakistani officer.
Just for asking what was going on.
And telling him flat out, this is not your jurisdiction. I mean, if that's true, that tells you everything about who holds the real power in that specific zone.
That's not just operational control. That's protecting something incredibly sensitive. Which brings us to the big question Rishik poses. Why? Why this base?
And the geography gives you the answer. You're right next to China, you're watching Central Asia, you have access to Afghanistan. The theory is it houses U.S. strategic instruments.
And let's be clear what strategic instruments could mean. This is where the theory takes a huge but logical leap.
It does.
We're potentially talking about American nuclear weapons.
And what's so fascinating is the strategic thinking behind it.
Yeah.
Why would the U.S. put its most powerful weapons in another country?
It seems so risky.
Well, the U.S. has around 5,500 nuclear bombs. The theory goes you can't keep them all in one place, like on the U.S. mainland. That just invites one single massive knockout blow.
So this is about dispersal, an insurance policy against a first strike.
Precisely. It's a counter strategy. You spread your assets around the globe in secure locations like Noor. So even if the U.S. mainland is hit, you still have a second strike capability from these hidden spots.
It's the ultimate don't put all your eggs in one basket strategy.
For existential defense, yes. And that level of importance would explain why they'd be willing to risk an international incident to keep it secret. It all starts to connect.
Okay, so if that's the secret, let's look at the alleged cover-up. Because the timeline around Operation Sindoor is just, it's glaring.
This is where the diplomacy seems to scream, we're protecting something.
Let's walk through it. April 26th, before the attack. The official U.S. stance from President Trump was completely hands-off. He said the India-Pakistan conflict is 1,500 years old and basically not my business.
He's washing his hands of it.
Completely. But then Operation Sindoor happens. Noor gets hit. And suddenly, the U.S. posture doesn't just change, it does a complete 180.
Literally overnight, the bombing of that specific base seems to have been the trigger.
The night of the attack, May 9th, U.S. Secretary Marco Rubio is immediately on the phone with the Pakistan Army chief. It's urgent. It's high level.
And then, not even 24 hours later, on the evening of May 10th, Trump himself jumps in. He tweets, taking credit for mediating a ceasefire after a long night of talks.
Reversing his not my business stance in less than a day.
It's an extraordinary reversal.
And the argument presented in Rushik's analysis is that this wasn't about peace. It was about damage control.
It was about stopping India before they hit that base again and potentially exposed whatever's there.
Right. If the U.S. had acknowledged the attack on the base was a problem for them, it would have confirmed their presence. It would have proven the journalists' claims.
And revealed the vulnerability of this massive secret. So instead,
you create a distraction. Take credit for the ceasefire. It brilliantly shifts the global focus from a damaged secret base to a successful U.S. diplomatic mission.
It's a perfect cover story. The media talks about peacemaking, not about what was actually hit on the ground.
Which brings us full circle right back to the present day, to those C-17s and the generals landing for flood aid.
And again, the timing is just too perfect to be a coincidence.
The reporting shows that on September 4th, reconstruction began on the exact section of the airbase that India had damaged in May.
So, specific repairs on the attacked facility.
And the very next day, September 5th, U.S. Globemasters land with a delegation of 3-star generals.
The timing is impeccable.
It really solidifies the whole theory. If this was just about aid, you'd have civilian agencies there.
Of course.
But the presence of only high-ranking military arriving the day repairs begin on damage from an attack. It strongly suggests they were there to check on their asset.
Inspecting the repairs, securing the site, maybe even moving things. Whatever it was a military operation under the thinnest possible humanitarian cover.
And that really is the conclusion from the details Rushik lays out. The recent visits, far from being about aid, actually seem to prove that the airbase remains a top-tier strategic priority for the U.S.
It just shows how much a crew can operate far below the surface of official statements and tweets. Even something like taking credit for a ceasefire can be a cover story to protect a crucial, perhaps nuclear secret. What other headlines are just distractions, you know?
It makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this conversation. If you want more in-depth analyses like the one Rushik shared, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow Rushik on medium.com/Rushkerwall.